All right, I'm back.
Okay. Okay,
Recording.
cool.
Well,
All right.
in terms of why the whole move to New York.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, initially the move to New York was supposed to be for for the administration to move to New York because of the current situation that the building wasn't going right financially. That's just the truth.
Okay.
And so
that's true. I like that.
Right. And so things just changed over time, but initially it was really only going to be the office was going to just move to Bushwick and just take over Bushwick. And thing is that, and then the next thing was, he said, because I noticed too, a lot of people got real religious with that move. People was like, well, if you're not going to move, then you're not really this. And the usual, which if you're not doing this, then you're not really taking. But the reality was this. Pops was like, look, we got to move. He's trying to move back up north, trying to get the people to move back up north in certain spots, not just New York, but like if you got D.C., Jersey, Philly, in that region. If a person, let's say, couldn't go, you're not condemned or, fire and brimstone are going to hit you because you can't go. Let's use sound right reasoning. If you can't move, you can't move. That's just reality. Some people are locked into where they are at that time, and they just are where they are. But some people can get up whenever they feel like it, whenever they need be, and just migrate at any given time. And anybody, everyone is not in the same type of situation, the same, so everybody can't just get up like that. So that's the main reasons why initially it changed over time because he wanted really to just get the people to go up north in certain positions. So, but the initial reason was to just get the office because really is that the last thing that we own, I'm just keeping it real, is Bushwick. Those, the deeds and everything is still something that we have as opposed to still renting a place.
Okay. Now you giving some real honest dialogue. I got even some more interesting questions. We're about to have a real good conversation right now, and I'm at work. But you answered that question because I was just thinking to myself, all the land, and it seems more fruitful and less congested to be up north. So when I first saw it online and people were talking about it, it was a kind of a little buzz going on. I said, that just doesn't make sense. That doesn't logically that doesn't sound right reason. Like, why would we come up into this concrete jungle? I'm from up top. I'm from up north. I'm from Detroit. And I've been to New York, and these are two dirty cities, man. I mean, this is, like, who wants to live up here? I just can't.
Right. I understand, man. Also, he was saying also, it's just from what he was saying that it came down to the political situations in Georgia was changing, and I think he wanted to get the people that was in there initially out of harm's way and try to get them up north, which, that's his decision. So, people can or can't. If they can't, that's my thing. What people got to stop doing, when I notice online, whether it's Facebook or wherever it's at, they try to make things into like this religious movement. Like if a person says, "Well, look, I can't make it," then people try to,
condemn them. Exactly.
Right, and that's when things get really silly because it's like, no, it's not about making someone do something or shaming someone into doing something. You have to get the full story of something because most people, when they posted it, they didn't put the full, and most people didn't even know the full story. They just pretty much just parroted what one person said and spread it out. And by the time it got to a number of people, it was like either you move or you're not down. That's the usual trickle-down effect of a lot of the messages that we get.
Right, and that's unfortunate because this connection me and you have through this whole Instagram and Facebook, I mean, social network is almost like a gift and a curse. Would you agree?
Yeah, that's true. It is because, I mean, it's like gift-wise, you reach people that you wouldn't normally reach because I'm in Houston, so,
exactly.
You're in Detroit. So, but then the negative is what happens is that people take that to to a higher level of egoism where everyone has a voice. Well, I'm this and I'm that, whereas when you meet them in person, they're not the same person, but when you see them on social media, then they have to have a position and a place and a platform to just, rule, as opposed to just, sometimes, you say something and sometimes you don't have to say anything. Some people feel they always have to make a statement, and it doesn't have to be that way.
Right, but see, you sound, I think that's a little more of a mature wisdom kind of statement, because I agree totally, because some things I say, I see all these comments and people say so many things. I'm like, why is all this negativity? People just got, like, they're almost like Karate Kid keyboard gangsters. I'm like, what? You just got stuff to say. I'm like, yo, man, I'm not cut from that thread. Like, we weren't brought up like that. I don't know what. I mean, but anyway, now my next question. I used to live in North Carolina, and I'm hearing there's a movement of Nuwaupians that are buying land and being kind of progressive with the information in North Carolina. Do you have any information on that? Are you aware of that?
I didn't hear anything about that, to be honest. I didn't.
Okay.
I know there's places to get land in North Carolina. I was told, but I didn't know that there was like a specific group of people doing it. I didn't know that.
Okay.
I think
all right.
I think what people should do, and this is just me, my point of view, is that if you can move, because people want to go with whatever's being said. If you can move up north, then great. But I wouldn't rule out buying land. That's what the move really should be. Is a pinnacle where you reach a pinnacle where you're no longer renting, you're no longer having to pay to be for something. You can own it and at least move about however you feel. I think that's a great idea to do that. I would do it too.
Okay, good. I'm all right. Well, you further my next. I was going to say. Now I've been in the information, man. I got introduced to Pops in 1997. 1997. So this is how long I've been in this information. I ain't no newbie. It's been a long time. So a lot of the stuff I'm hearing now, it's more prevalent. A lot of stuff that the master teacher was speaking on so many years ago is really like surfacing and it's everywhere today. But people are trying to coinage it and tag themselves to the information as though they're the ones that are speaking it. You follow me?
I hear what you're saying. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's kind of disheartening when you've been hearing and reading this information for so long, and then you hear these people that like get conscious and are more holier than thou, like over the night. Now they got the information. I'm like, wait a minute. And then not only that, with the internet, and I check out YouTube and stuff, and the stuff that's going on in Harlem, in New York, with like all this debating and stuff that's going on, I'm like, they just changed the game. Like the whole game has been changed, man.
It has.
Like like who do people like, it's almost what information do you trust? And then Pops is not on the scene, which is so unfortunate. You follow what I'm saying? It's like all this stuff is going on, and for people that have been in this information for a very long time, and then now this platform for all these different people are just, mixed and confused. And, when I talk to people on the street just on the fly, people don't really know, almost what to do, so to speak. There's so much going on.
You know what? My take on that, first off, is the parroting. I call it parroting. A lot of people say the same thing. I say the same. This is my thing, and I think like I was going to do a class called Disrespectful, meaning that what people tend to do over the years is that now, like you said, conscious community. Like if you look at certain groups and certain channels, which I give somewhat respect to Sonetta because sometimes some of his segments are very informative. I give respect to do on that. Very much so.
I agree.
And one thing he does do when people mention Pops on a negative light, he does check them. Like one brother got on there and was trying to say, I know this brother said he did this in the mosque and he did this and he did that, and the brother and the Sanet and the guy, Brother Satek was like, where's the proof? They both said off the bat, where's the proof of what they said about Dr. York? And they shut dude down, which I respect that. I think it's on.
Yeah, I respect that. I respect that.
You know what I mean? And I think if you want to look it up, it's the one where the brother, one of the classes, the videos was, do we have the right to judge Dr. York? If you look that one up, that's the one where him and Brother Satek was like, you know, they in the background, but they asked, where's the proof in that? And he had nothing to say. So I respect him.
I like Brother Satek too. Yeah, I like brothers. I like Sonetta. I like both of those brothers, man. You know,
right.
I like both of those brothers, and what I'm saying is it's the element of the information is so what word can I use? It's just so out there right now. It's unbelievable, man.
See, and this
it's really out there.
And you know, this is the thing I've been meaning to cover for a long time. See, a lot of people, and again, I want to give respect to brothers like Phil Valentine, but like Bobby Hemmett. I hope he's making a good recovery from his stroke, and another brother, Ashraf Kwesi, and the other brother that I listened to his conference call a long time ago, made me set my game up. This is brother Delbert Blair, and he's an elder of ours. And his daughter's actually Nuwaupu. I didn't know that until someone told me.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. See, the problem is this. See, the biggest problem I have, though, is that a lot of these brothers I just mentioned, and I'm just going to keep it 210 with this. No one ever heard of them when Pops was out. Let's just keep it a lot. Let's keep it real.
Right.
Meaning that they wasn't getting as big of a following when Pops was doing when he was, because he shined. It was to a point where I never heard of Bobby Hemmett prior to, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I'm just keeping it honest.
Right,
Dr.
okay, I follow.
You know what I mean? Like Dr. Valentine, I heard vaguely. Blair,
vaguely. Yeah, vaguely. I would agree. Vaguely.
But what's crazy is that when he was teaching certain information, people was calling him crazy. Oh, he made that up. He made this up. He made that up. But if Hemmett talks about it, or Blair talks about it, or Valentine talks about it, all of a sudden now they're deep. I think that's whack. And then no one ever. It's like when we want to bring also. People bring up the term master teacher a lot. Now, we all know that term from just me, from what I know, I didn't hear anybody else's name mentioned before Pops being called master teacher. I could be wrong. I have no problem being wrong.
I haven't heard it either, bro. Zamu, I've never heard it either. You are $150 on that one, straight up.
But what's funny is now, when you mention master teacher, all of a sudden the conscious community, people, they're choosing to pick over Dr. York, which is very disrespectful, because that term, that moniker, was like a trademark for him for a long time. I mean, it still is. They'll say Dr. Valentine, they'll say Dr. Blair, they'll say Hemmett, they'll say Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark, which I respect that, and that's fine, but don't say those names and not mention Dr. York. You're being disrespectful.
Right, exactly. You see now, me, that we definitely vibing on the same frequency on that one, because I noticed that.
Yeah, I'm like, no, that's not cool, because so you mean tell me all the information that he put out over a 40-something year span, you're gonna just discount that? Whereas I'm like, let's just keep it. Because the one thing that doesn't lie in existence is numbers. You want to put numbers against numbers on teacher to teacher, then you want to keep quiet about it. But you want to play this game as if he didn't exist anymore. So, I don't co-sign that. I have a certain amount of solidarity with certain organizations, but when you just say, okay, well, look, I'm not going to mention that, then I got a problem with you. I'm not going to mention, okay, you're not going to mention Dr. York, so if you're not going to mention him, then take away Dr. Ben then. Take away Dr. Clark then. Because he did equally as much as he put an equal amount of information out as much as anybody else, as much as surpassing people. People got to remember something too, is that people never really wanted to go into Samaria had it not been for Pops. Think about that for a second. Zechariah Sitchin put out a certain amount of information based on Samaria and Babylon and Enuma Elish and the Sumerian Bible and everything. Pop surpassed Zechariah Sitchin, and that was Zechariah Sitchin's niche.
It was. Pops is the reason I even know who Zechariah Sitchin is. So, Pops would say, well, I know you're going to cross-reference this information, but I'm like, Pops, we don't got nobody else to cross-reference it to but the Caucasians.
Exactly.
Who else do we have to cross-reference? Other than go physically do it ourselves. I mean, but yeah, that was the reason I even knew who he was, because of Pops anyway.
Right, and that's my thing. Like, we got to start, if you're not going to give respect where respect is due, I have no problem backing away. And that's just, real. Now, the second part you were saying about the debates, man, it's like it's evolving. I don't even think it's really an evolution, though, because for something to evolve, it has to be a certain switch in especially in the Earth situation. Like, the only switch I know in terms of paradigmal switch is what we're going into now in terms of where we're at now in terms of woman becoming God again, and being and completely in tune with the Earth's axis, and being, according to being Earth and Sun and Moon at the same time. She's the completion. But in terms of these debates, man, that shit is just really about making money. It's capitalism. It's like, when I look at it,
right. I mean, we do need. I was gonna say, I'm glad you spoke about capitalism, because it does formulate economics or commerce, because of the vending. People, that's the part I kind of do like. I really don't really get off it, but that's the part I have to respect, is the vending, because these are entrepreneurs that are circulating currency among one another. And the only way you're kind of going to get that kind of venue is if you get us a whole bunch of us grouped together and we start exchanging goods with one another in that nature. You know what I'm saying? We're spending with each other. Because a lot of things Pops did when we went, let's go back to the beginning when we were talking about Bushwick and coming back up north, is a lot of people talked about Pops' information, but they didn't talk about his economics. I mean, Pops was economically sound. He was getting to the money.
Right.
Facts? He was getting to the money. You know what I'm saying? He was getting to the money. So, I can't separate the fact that, if anybody wants to talk about Man for Planet Risk, if they want to talk about any of the actual facts, if they want to talk about the Black Book, if they want to talk about any of that information, I don't hear y'all talking about how he was getting money. Why is that not on the forefront? Let's talk about how he was getting to the money. You know what I'm saying? So that's my take.
Yeah, and I think that also, like, staying on this whole debate thing, which I feel is, I think what's happening now is that we're underestimating our people's intelligence. What meaning by that is that I made the statement, I said, well, why can't we do the same thing in terms of, like, entrepreneurship and group economics by just having lectures? And the brother I was talking to was like, well, look, most blacks just don't just go to lectures. I'm like, that's not true, because here in Houston, you got brothers going to lectures of all types of people, from Umar Johnson to Charles Ali to Clark Anderson. They coming out for these people. They paying big bucks, $40 a head to see these people. And people are selling their goods, they making their money at these lectures. So I think that's a cop-out. Now, if people want to do debates, because the debates, I'm not saying you're a cop-out. I'm saying his statement was, because we could just do lectures, because that's the thing. We have to raise up the frequency of the people in their intelligence. We can't. I'm not getting anything from watching a debate. I'm getting laughs. I'm getting a lot of, like, dramatic stuff. It looks like for me, it's like I'm either watching a Tyson fight or something in WWF. Was like, Ricky Dragon Steamboat versus Macho Man Randy Savage and George Animal Steel and Greg the Hammer Valentine. He's about to was going to be WCW Sting versus Ric Flair, and I mean, that's what it is. These people who,
people like entertainment, bro. I mean, we have to be ultimately honest and keep keep it $1.50, man. That people like entertainment. So I mean, but you're right. I do agree with you. I don't think we have to debate, because after a while, debating there's not really going to be too much to debate about. Like, I mean, because I mean, if you're a Hebrew Israelite or you're a Moor, you're going to stand on that square even if I demolish your information with facts. Because people really don't want to, have you? I mean, name me a preacher or a full-blown Christian, or pretty anybody that's really heavy into their craft or their belief that actually changed it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can name me some people, I'm all ears. Because most people don't, bro. they kind of stick with it. So you are correct. I mean, you're going to debate, but I don't think debating is going to change, people's mind state of whatever, ideology that they feel that they're accustomed to or they feel more comfortable with. So but the entertainment part, if we're going to do lectures, then, there's going to have to be some form of entertainment with the lectures, because everybody's getting entertained with everything else. They're getting entertained with everything else.
It's entertainment. It's like, that's my thing. If entertainment is, I think the debates are, when they had their time, because they caught steam. The first debate that I remember was the SETI versus it was a Severe Bay, and it was on the couch. I mean, it was looking really silly. And then it went from
you talking about Sour and SETI?
Yeah, exactly. Because he was the
first.
Yeah,
he's from Detroit, too.
Like that. Right. He was the first to
from
debate
Detroit.
like that. Mm-hmm. Then you had SETI again versus Alim Bey, and then you had, because what I'm noticing, though, this is from what I see, a lot of times what's happening is the debates are a way for whoever that is to bash another person's leader and teacher, because you're not really getting information. There's some things I learned in certain debates, but then a lot of it is just like, it's like, you're cheering and you're going ooh to that, and you just debase the whole person's purpose for being with black people, for uniting black people, because Noble Drew Ali may have had a purpose in his time, but then 80 years later, you have somebody that pops out of nowhere saying he's a fraud, he's this, he's a coon, Uncle Tom, and it's like, wait a minute, like,
that's not cool. That's not cool. Yeah,
but that's what the debates are creating, and that's the problem I have, where it's like, whites, the beasts don't do that shit. If there's an argument, or if there's a debate or a discussion or disagreement, they don't go on public forum, and you don't see neo-Nazis and KKKs having a debate over Hitler and shit. You don't see that.
You're right.
Don't see it. You don't see them having a debate over John Metzger or a fucking crystal meth problem. They don't do that shit. They just you don't see them doing nothing. In everyone else's mind, they just came together and they eat together and they kill black folks up whenever they feel like it. But black people, as always, we ready for drama where it's like we won't ever actually ascend, because we're constantly stuck in dramatic mode all the time.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Because it's a point. I mean, it's a time for that, because Pops done covered everything that they're talking about in the debates anyway. He did. Yeah. If you want to be honest with it, he covered them in every debate book, and when he had to cover their religions, he covered it. So what a lot of the debates are them digging up a lot of what he already said. So we're right back to parroting again.
And every debate, most of them, a lot of ones I've seen, they can't get away from not saying Pops' name.
I noticed.
I don't know if you noticed, but everyone I've seen, it's like they cannot get away from it, man. It's like no matter what, somebody's bringing it up as far as either on a big up, questioning it, said I read it, or trying to tag you to it.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so when you said what you just said, you're 100% correct. I mean, it's no doubt.
It's like really, like again, like yeah, it was every debate that Polite has been a part of. Whoever he's debated, even if he wasn't the main person, somewhere whoever he's debating had to bring him up. It's like, okay, who are you debating? Are you debating Polite or are you debating Dr. York?
Exactly, because they know Polite was a Nuwaupu, or I mean, I don't know what he is now, because he's still, I haven't seen him have a Nuwaupu hat on, so I don't know if he's, I really don't. I mean, I don't know if he's riding the fence or, he still got some of the information. Then I heard him say he had read a couple of books. Then I heard him say he didn't agree with some of the stuff. But I don't know where your young phenom is on that.
I don't know.
I don't even know.
That's his, whatever he doing is his business. That's near where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? That's why and it's certain stuff I've seen and certain stuff I've found out that made me kind of like back away. You know what I mean? So I'm, I want to get into it here, but that's, my thing with it. But that's the thing. People really, a lot of this really centers around Pops. They don't really give the respect, but they want to really, it all comes down to parroting, because a lot of it seems like every subject is, again, stuff that he covered 15, 20 years ago, like literally. From the Noble Drew Ali situation to the Hebrew Israelite situation to anything. It's already been covered already. What else can you say?
Yeah, like that's not too much. Do you think, man, because I really, me and my partner, man, we had these kind of discussions that me and you have all the time. Yeah. And I really, I have a firm belief, belief thought, that we're really not, black people are not all the same. I think I read it in one of the Patarak, where it's like we're like all of us are from like a different genetic, like even black people. So if even the black people are from a different genome, then we're really not all one people then. Am I correct on that, or can you elaborate on that? Am I wrong?
No, that's very true. I mean, if you're taking it to the Black Devil sense, then definitely. I mean, you're getting a mixture in terms of genetics. You're getting a mixture of those who are Ta'ite, complete Ta'ite, and then you got those who are a mixture of Ta'ite and 8 ether mixture of 6 ether Dravidian. So that 6 ether genetic from those Anakim is very prevalent to a lot of so-called blacks. So somewhere in that genetic that trickles all the way back, because I realize those 6 ether beings, those Anakims go back millions of years as well. Because if you're studying, going back to the extraterrestrial information, both the Riskians, realize the agreeable and disagreeable beings were both Riskians. One was 9, one was 6. There was no time period that said that, okay, the 9 predated 6. We know that. But at the same time, 6 was not like that new. 6 was the 6 ether beings of those Anakims. They go back very much millions of years. Okay? Because for them to live on risk and occupy certain colonies at one time, they had to have gone back millions of years ago. That's why what's good about a lot of people that I'm noticing now, they're starting to connect the dots of the information. And one of the information that I think a lot of people, or one of the books I think people should try to get into if they get a chance on their side, side studies is Nine Ball, because that starts to put a lot of pieces together. When you read how far certain races have gone back, the 6 ether forces go back very far. When you deal with 9 ether, you're going back 80 billion to a degree. When you're dealing with 6 ether, you're going back to at least 18 million, 80 million as well. So you're dealing with blacks who are Thai, who are 9 ether. Of course, we had a mixture period, of course, whether you're dealing with ancient Kemet of the 6,000 dynastic period, or if you're dealing with the time of the Moors, or if you're dealing with the time of slavery. We did mix, but you're dealing with people genetically that are still non-ether, but then you're also dealing with those who have Ta'ite blood on the other side, and then you have those who have 6 ether within them that, of course, mix in with those tides at a certain time. That's why that also that tape, the Black Devil tape, that was back in '91, is very prevalent because it also is able to piece that together into the information. A lot of people have never heard that one, but then that also shows that some people are here for one purpose, which is to ascend, and some people for another purpose, to stop other people's ascension.
Oh, okay. So I'm right on the money, and I kind of felt that. Like I said, I've been studying this stuff for some years. I used to speak. Man, I was really into it, and I think we all have our ups and our downs and fall ups and go through life. But I had the feeling. I said that we're not all the same. So this whole black, you always hear people, a lot of the master teachers, so in quote, always say about this us getting together kind of thing. I'm like, we're not going to get together. You can scratch that. That's not going to happen. Y'all can kind of kill that noise. At least I don't think so. I think more people will be, if anything, people might be more tribal. That, I can kind of sense and see that kind of going on. I mean, tribal, these, a group of Hebrew Israelites, and it's a whole bunch of them, and you got Nuwaupians, and there's a whole bunch of Nuwaupians that are tribal. You got some Moors, and you got a whole bunch of Moors that are tribal. You got some this, and then a whole bunch of tribal. I can see that happening in a collective kind of format, but us all under one umbrella. I mean, I really don't see that happening in my lifetime.
No, I think it just comes down to those who can identify based on action and all of a non-ether descent with the same idea. With the same idea and same productive actions. That's really what it comes down to. You can because the reality is you can have 100 Nuwaupians in one room, or just 100 black people, 100 conscious community people, and 10 of them might be productive. The other 90 is just bumping into each other, and that always happens. Always.
Yeah, and the fall of Tamaray of the West was always an inside thing. Have you know? And it's always something with inside. Always. It's never an out. It's always that someone that looks just like you. It's almost like the black man is God and the devil at the same time.
Right. Well, we have to. One thing I do say, I mean, this is real, but we're dealing with right now, and we're dealing with a war where we're going against a ghost ether being, which is at that Caucasoid. And that's not to get sidetracked and to just say we are our own worst enemy, because we could do that all night, but that's the reality. Because that's, not, whether you're dealing with black devils or not, the people who are killing our kids are not black devils. Those are the ghost ether Caucasians. Those are the ones that we have to really worry about right now. Is that, and if we're not, whoever it is, if we're not devising plans to organize to solve that problem, then all the other stuff is not going to make a hill of beans anyway.
Okay.
And that's just real talk. I mean, like, really, because Nuwaupu is a science of sound right reasoning. And how do you reason out? How do you use reasoning in dealing with our offspring or us as a people being murdered in a form of genocide? How do you reason that out? That's
I know we're kind of, we're seeing it, and, it's kind of because, we have TV and internet. But, bro, this has always been going on. This is really nothing new. It's new to people now because they have TV, they have a tablet, they have an iPhone, they have a radio. These things, like I grew up in the era, it was no Facebook. You know what I'm saying? I'm 37 years old. There was no Facebook, there was no Instagram. Well, none of that, you know what I mean? Like, it was like, it was just real straight you know, the connection with people. I remember people who still using payphones. I'm from the city of Detroit. I'm from the hood. I don't even see payphones no more, bro. Like, people that, you know what I'm saying? But I can remember a time, so the point I'm making is like, man, that stuff always been going on. It just seemed like it's going on. It seemed like it's more prevalent now because of the information we got access to right now. This stuff is always going on. This is nothing new. Like, yo, we blowing Ferguson out of control. We blowing Trayvon Martin out of control. Like, yo, man, I could talk to my dad that used to be down with the whole Black Panther wearing the dashiki and all that. He like, son, this is nothing new, bro. We were doing the same thing all the stuff I hear you saying, we were in the streets talking that. I was listening to the talk radio shows. I was doing what and so when I hear him tell me something like that, he's 63 years old, I have to reflect and be like, oh, okay, wait a minute. It's kind of new to me. Because he's telling me, like, this is, they were doing debate. I mean, you got people like Dr. Ben and all the elders. They live in a young generation, the people like in their 20s, 30s, and maybe even early 40s. They can't even be a young generation. Be like, yo, man, y'all regurgitating the information that we were already talking about.
Right, exactly.
Y'all just got more of a platform because now you got the internet.
Yeah, because
we were doing it.
If you want to be honest with it as well, we were tricked into integration, and that gave us the idea that everything was okay. And so when you get when you get it more consistent, then people are waking up like, wow, this is happening. Like, no, it never stopped. You just started it. You just started it. And
you just started it.
Yeah, you thought it did, and they decided to put a camera on the situation, and now you're taking attention to what's been going on. I mean, because these killings, it's sad, but a lot of these killings opened up people's eyes and woke people up, black people specifically, to what's going on. And that's the problem. I mean, the reality is excuse me, I can't even say it right now, but the Luciferians have always had a say in what is going on in the black community because they own the situation economically. So when you're dealing with killings like this is a planned situations in order to test run Rex 84 to test run all of these because you gotta realize this just a brief moment for a second. When you have what happened in Ferguson, the overnight they brought the tanks in. That's a part of martial law. So realize they're using blacks as test subjects now. We're just getting hip to that reality.
Yeah.
We've got to be honest with ourselves and just realize where we stand and organize in terms of how we're going to actually try to solve our own problems. Because you can't bring the same person in a problem who's trying to kill you. It doesn't make any sense.
Indeed. And people are gonna have to. The solution I have to all that, to me, my solution is you're gonna have to start on your own corner. Because you're gonna have to start on your own corner. Because people are not. I mean, I'm not in Houston. I only drove through. I drive a truck. I'm a truck. I drive a truck. I ain't drove through Houston, so I don't know too much about Houston. I've pretty much been all over the country, but I feel like the same thing going on everywhere. People just gonna have to, get it together on their own block. Like connect with, get it together on their own block and kind of, go from there. Get on, that's And I always try to say, well, economics is going to fix the problem. But I'm like, well, not totally.
Not totally because, I mean, I agree with that. You definitely need to get the economic structure set up as well. You just need to get people with a certain mind frame that we're going to start solving our own problems after we come together. I'll never drop that. Never drop that idea because I feel we can. We just gotta want to do it. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. But yeah, I just want to, I got some. We've been kicking it for a minute. I got one
one little last little thing I'm gonna say. I don't know if anybody else on the line or want to talk or whatever, but if they can, they can jump in. But Pops has been locked up for how long now?
This is going on 13 years.
13 years, right?
Yep.
Now, you know, that's, you know, I'm just thinking to myself, like, what is, you know, what do you say to somebody, like, if somebody's new coming into the information and they're deterred away knowing that Pops is incarcerated and how long he's been incarcerated, what do you what would you tell them? Like, what can you say to a person that's like, yo, the person that you're listening to is not even on the scene, he in jail? Like, what do you tell people when they're like, yo, man, you know, yeah, he locked up, and this is why he got locked up?
Yeah. What do you tell them? Like,
what do you tell? What do you? Yeah, because I know you had that discussion with people. I know you had some brother or sister say something to you that asked, like, you know, pertaining to his, you know, his situation being locked up, man, and, you know, like.
Right. Well, I mean, what I do is I just explain to them the case. And I explained to him, I refer to them Habiba Washington's tape that's online for everybody to see that shows that it was a setup.
Okay.
You know, he was set up by his own to be taken down. I mean, she mentions names. She mentions my brother Jacob's name. So it's not something that she was forced to do. They won't put a gun to her head. She put the truth out there that they did whatever they could to take this man down, and also connected to the fact that COINTELPRO was in the organization. They, as you just said, they went within to tear it down. So as they do to every other black leader and black organization, it's the same story. So this shouldn't be hard for blacks to overstand. You know, let's just, you know, it's very simple. I don't even go into, if people want to say, well, this is, like, look, look at that, and you have a clear idea of what they were doing to tear him down. You know, I don't even go into all of that. You know, because people, if you want to believe, if you want to call yourself conscious, yet you believe what the devil says about your own, then this conversation becomes null and void. That's how you got it. That's how I deal with it. I'm not going to sit here and if I have to convince you after showing you the proof of what happened online, then you obviously want to believe everything about your own, which is fine. Just do you.
Okay.
But if you're ready, if you're ready to listen, if you're ready to learn, then we can walk together, and that's fine.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, do you think he's going? I mean, what do you think? I got a two-part question. Do you think he's going to get out? That's my first question. And when he does, what's going to happen then?
I feel he's going to get out. I would never say he's not. It's just a matter of how. It's just a matter of how. That's how I look at it. A matter of how. What's going to happen? You know, at this point, it was all about ascension. He was all about, you know, transformation for everybody. And people got to step their game up in terms of getting the information together within themselves, put the pieces together so that they can be able to be on the same frequency as he is. So, you know, at least to mind frame, because he's an avatar, so you're not going to get to that level because you're chosen for that. You can't just jump and say, I'm open. No, he was chosen for that specific purpose. But what people got to start doing is realizing when he does get out, he's like, fast forward. He's like, yo, you need to already be here. You're still here. So you need to catch up. That's why I think people got to learn how to start catching up and just walking along within the same accord of what he's talking about and what he's saying. And it shouldn't be no problem, at least following along or walking alongside of him when he does get out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But,
yeah. I mean, I pretty much answered my question on that. Yeah, because, I mean, ever since he's been off the scene, man, it's, for me to go in, for me to get introduced to the master teacher, and then a few years later be off the scene, it was just like, wow. But I was young, man. I was in my early 20s.
Mhm.
I
was when I came in, of course, my father and everything, but I was 17, so I was reading since then, just reading whatever I could to try to learn whatever I could learn.
Right, and then I'm sitting there talking to you, and I'm like, you his son. This is, I would have never thought. I'm sitting here, you're a technology boy, and the rhythm of the universe is something else. I just did this on the fly. I say, you know what? I'm gonna call and listen in and maybe ask me a few questions, and here I am, huh?
There you go. I'm just here just to build, man. It ain't about taking place of anything. It's just about building and just fulfilling purpose, and that's all.
Yeah.
That's what it's about, man. So I'm all.
Do you got me?
Go ahead.
Oh no. Okay. Well, I was gonna ask about like all these different bookstores. They got one. Do you know Rashid here in Detroit, like the Mirror here in Detroit? Are you familiar with anybody at the Mirror in Detroit? Anybody?
I'm familiar.
You're not?
No. Not at
all. Really? Oh man, now you connected. Wow, that's okay.
Yeah, I heard about, of course, Chicago, but not Detroit at all.
Okay. Dang, this truck right next to me, man. He better not hit my mirror. Come on, Walt, get it in the dock. I'm talking to you, but he back in his trailer here, man, and it's a real tight spot. And he gotta maneuver this mug pretty. He better maneuver it correctly because he almost hit my truck, and I don't want the brother to hit the truck. Then we got to. Oh, he is close. Let me hold on 1 second. Oh, come on.
But yeah, no, I'm about to shut the class down now, man.
Okay, cool. I'm like, I don't want to be rude, but I don't want him to hit me either. But all right, man, it was good building with you. Bro. Like I say, man, my name Lee out of Detroit, and maybe we'll get a chance to build again, man. Catch you on the book or Instagram or whatever.
Well, shit, I'll be on here every week, so every Wednesday I'm on here.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So every Wednesday at 8. Well, I guess your time is. What time is it? Where you at?
Oh, it's 10:16 right now.
Okay, so it's your
it's
time.
9 o'clock when you on it. 9 o'clock. Yeah.
Yeah, 9 o'clock your time, 8 o'clock my time.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I'll see. I'll be with you then. All right.
All right, family man, stay up.
All right, you too, brother. What's up?
What's up?